noticed that I lost interest in my proper personality, and my chief efforts were to master certain points in history, science, language, art, and folklore, some of them tremendously abstruse, and some childishly simple which remained, very oddly in many cases, outside my consciousness. At the same time, they noticed that I had an inexplicable command of many almost unknown sorts of knowledge, and I had a way of speaking of the future which 2 or 3 times caused actual fright. I seemed animalously avid to absorb the speech, customs, and perspectives of the age around me, as if I were a studious traveler from a far, foreign land. As soon as permitted, I haunted the college library at all hours. My travels, however, were singular in the extreme, involving long visits to remote and desolate places. In 1909, I spent a month in the Himalayas, and in 1911 roused much attention through a camel trip into the unknown deserts of Arabia. During the summer of L9L2, I chartered a ship and sailed in the Arctic north of Spitsbergen, afterward showing signs of disappointment. Later in that year, I spent weeks alone beyond the limits of previous or subsequent exploration in the vast limestone cavern systems of Western Virginia. For real friendliness, however, I encountered little. Something in my aspect and speech seemed to excite vague fears and aversions in everyone I met. My own family formed no exception. From the moment of my strange waking, my wife had regarded me with extreme horror and loathing, vowing that I was some utter alien usurping the body of her husband. In 1910, she obtained a legal divorce, nor would she ever consent to see me even after my return to normality in 1913. Only my second son, Wingate, seemed able to conquer the terror and repulsion. He indeed felt that I was a stranger, but though only 8 years old, held fast to a faith that my proper self would return. I have found that my rate of reading and solitary study was phenomenal. I could master every detail of a book merely by glancing over it as fast as I could turn the leaves. There is tangible proof that I went mentally through such things as Ludwig Prinz die Vermis Mysteris, the unscrupulous Culton of Onjuns, and the dreaded necromonachon of the matter of Abdul Lannister. Other ugly reports concern my intimacy with leaders of occultist groups, and scholars suspected of connection with nameless bands of abhorrent elder world hierophants. In the summer of 1913, I began to display signs of a new and flagging interest, and to hint to various associates that a change might soon be expected in me. I returned to Arkham and reopened my long-closed house in Crane Street. Here I installed a mechanism of the most curious aspect, constructed piecemeal by different makers of scientific apparatus in Europe and America. On the evening of Friday, 20th September, I dismissed the housekeeper and the maid until noon of the next day. A late, dark, curiously foreign-looking man called in an automobile. It had 215, and the Straker's motor still at the curb. By 4 o'clock, the motor was certainly gone. It was at 6 o'clock that a hesitant foreign voice on the telephone asked Dr. Wilson to call at my house and bring me out of a peculiar faint. When the doctor reached my house, he found me unconscious in the sitting room in an easy chair. The coil machine was gone. At 11:15, on 27th September, I stirred vigorously, and my hitherto mask-like face began to show signs of expression. Then just after noon, I began to mutter in English. Nathaniel Wingate Peaslee had come back. The spirit in whose time scale it was still Thursday morning in 1908. However, this was not the end of the matter. For the next 20 years, I was haunted by vague dreams and strange ideas.